What's up, everybody? This is the ATF Radio Show at the lovely Executive Lounge, 225 Seminole Boulevard in sunny Sanford, right on the water. It's the Cigar Snob. Sheriff Fort Steve is back. And the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Shirts and Shoes, and his clean-ass linen shirt.
Good afternoon.
Ready to tell your mom. Can you get off Grindr and pay attention? Steven, get off Grindr and pay attention. We're actually like live and we're just I'm struggling on Grindr.
So, amongst other things, this is the last Saturday of September.
It is. Very true.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So cheers to everybody out there. Hope everybody's having a good weekend.
Ginger ale.
We are officially into fall. Football run. You got ginger ale, and we've got the double espresso martini, which is a staple drink here at Executive. So I suggest any and everybody, when you come through here, try it. James will take care of you.
Shout out to Tom, proprietor of this great establishment.
And Alex.
And Alex, right?
And Erica.
And Erica. Just had a really good talk with Tom before we got on air, so it took us so long. My apologies. We got some great things coming up.
We do.
The first Tuesday of October, we have. What are you looking for?
I'm just trying to see, make sure the levels are good.
Oh,
Since it is so far.
let's push up the
You're one, or is he one?
1 and 2.
You're one,
Push
and
both
he's
up.
two.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sunsets and Cigars, which has now become pretty much a staple thing
It has.
on the first Tuesday of every month.
Yep. Sponsored by Joe Dalton.
And on the 8th of October, we have Oscar Valladares,
Cicero.
and that's going to be a huge event. I got to make sure I take off work for that one.
Yes.
That's during the week. Was that Thursday?
I gotta check and see. But if you
No,
haven't had
it's a Monday.
amongst his great titles, this happens to be this Superfly, so which I'm holding in my hand. The Superfly
Yeah, that's been your favorite
Super
from the
Toro.
beginning.
Yeah, I started enjoying this back when we were at Bellicoso
The old Bella Photo.
on Park.
Yeah, two years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the weekend of the 15th, the three of us and Tom will be in Shelbyville
Tennessee.
touring the Uncle Near Distillery,
Can't
and
wait.
we will be broadcasting live
Can't
from
wait.
there.
Can't wait for that.
Oh yeah, I'm getting shit faced from that day. I'm saying everything.
That's when the ball went.
Huh?
I just want to ball went.
That it be, yeah.
No, you can't just one bottle of that. That's fucking retarded. But you'll never open it.
Gotta have two. One to rock, one to stop.
Yeah, I got to get some more of that Yellowstone barrel we got.
Yes. I still haven't opened up my bottle from Mr. Bean that he signed, but I'll
I
probably
opened up the bottle and
keep that for a while.
me and the lady had 2 shots. I got my mother-in-law one, and I guess she didn't really pay attention to the signature on the bottle, knowing that it was a limited release. So I was over there this week.
Tell me she didn't throw that bottle away.
No, she didn't throw it away. But I went over there this week. I was like, oh, what you want to drink? She's like, oh, let's get some of that Yellowstone. I said, oh, you like it? She said, yeah. I went downstairs. I sent Art the picture. There's literally that much left in the 750.
It was fine.
And so I didn't even pour a drink of that. I just gave her some,
Somebody had it, didn't they?
yeah, I gave her some basil. And I told her, I was like, so, just to let you know, this is the only barrel of this that came out. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, this bottle? There are no, it's like one of whatever. And I was like, this is literally one of 121 or whatever, 125, whatever, however many bottles.
Yeah, I was wondering how many bottles out of come
So I
out.
was like, unfortunately, I don't think I can find another bottle of this. I was like, what I would do is, I would go ahead and not drink the rest of that. I put it in the back of the liquor cabinet because that way if you don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. So,
The reason why I never smoke the stuff in my Tupperware. I don't ever see it. But that humidor that sits on top of the counter gets empty out the whole time.
oh, what are you smoking right now, Art?
The Monte Cristo Mini.
Oh, the media note I gave you?
Yes, thank you. I've been waiting on this for a minute, so I figured let me go and break this bad boy out. Oh, and also, quick shout out to the Seminole County Sheriff's deputies. I had to serve jury duty this week, and they were accommodating. Last day of jury duty, they asked me about the podcast. I gave them our details. They said they either be listening or come through. So, shout out to Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, no cop cars here today, so I guess they're listening. I said no cop cars today, so they're listening. Also, I had my first facial, and I mean cleaning of the pores.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, nope. We're not even going there today. Go fuck yourself, automatically. Shout out to my.
We just had this conversation before we went live.
Shout out to my esthetician, Jahira.
What's her name?
Jahira.
Jahira.
Yes, she works at
Jehovah Jireh.
Yes, she works at Age Rejuvenation in Winter Park in the Lakeside Plaza right next to Hillstones.
Yeah.
So they do aesthetics, they do hormone therapy, they do cool sculpting, they do all these things. And I got one of the signature facials, and much like my massages, I ended up sleeping like 10 minutes into it.
Wow.
She was massaging my face and doing everything, putting the creams on, and then I woke up and my face was all bright and shiny.
Glowing,
yeah. Even my girlfriend was like, "Damn, what happened to your face?"
And I wanted to ask, I'm glad that you got good results, because let's face it, we, from the darker complexion, we've got to make sure that things of that nature are tailored specifically, to our
absolutely,
to our skin and our melanin. So
yeah, so they have a wide range of different products from different manufacturers, but everything that she used was specific to my melanated skin. We won't say like skin.
Go home.
No, okay.
That boy is bad. You saw that?
So yeah, check them out. Age Rejuvenation. They're at 125 North Orange Avenue in Winter Park in the Trader Joe's Plaza. Let them know I sent you. They do a great job, and they've got medical weight loss. They've got everything.
how much is what's the walk-in my price for one of those facials?
Well, I can't tell you that.
Why not? People want to
Well, the signature facial is, you said your price. There's a difference. So the signature facial is $125.
Wow, that's reasonable.
Yeah. And I mean, the moisturizing, the massage, the steam on the face, the hot towels, blackhead removal, everything. The whole nine. So, also, Steven, what are you smoking?
One Night Stand, Cardboard Lost and Found, a very slept on line. I think a lot of people
Is that the second edition or first edition?
This is the second edition. This is the 2017 line. So
Okay, so I had the 2000 and...
you have that one. I don't know what year that one was, but that's the original blend. So these, they come out, I think, you probably missed this when we were talking about it before you came. With these, I think Cardboard did a re-release because all the Lost and Found, if you haven't heard about the Lost and Found, they are actually a bunch of tobacco that Cardboard got hand hold of and relaunched them with different labels. So most of these cigars are like, I think, the cream soda.
Oh, God.
That cigar is actually technically only 200 boxes. So and those only come in a bundle of 10. So that's 200 of all of that. So once that 200 is gone, whatever they release after that is just something new. It's not that same line. And those are, the One Night Stand is the same, the Swollen Cog.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the Swollen Cog and how much he enjoyed it.
Well, thoroughly. The Instant Classic, all those are all like limited releases. One of the ones I did like the most, probably more not quite as much as the cream soda. The one I really liked was the Holy Grail, which was a very limited release. They
Holy
never
what?
Holy Grail. It's a white label,
Like Braille, actually, like
it's
the
like
actual.
Braille, like.
And they said they have Braille writing on the label.
What?
And it was a limited release, and I don't think Caldwell ever did a redesign for that either, because I smoked one in Executive Melbourne, and I have not found that cigar since I smoked the last one I got there. So that's limited. So with these lost and founds, these are good sticks. I mean, I think what Caldwell is trying to do is recreate the ones that he loses that tobacco of. They're not quite the same, but they're still good. I mean, I've had almost every line, the original ones, at some point in time. I never bought a bundle, which I probably should have, but my thing is, I want to give to somebody, I want to allow people who really haven't tried to try it. You know, so I
Fuck
don't
that.
buy a bundle.
That shit's good. Buy that shit.
But these lost and founds are really good. They're
amazing.
slept on, man. They're really slept on. And that is one of my favorites. I've probably spoken a bundle of those at this point.
You know what's funny? This reminds me on the first draw of very similar to the draft
Ah, okay.
from the Monster series. I mean, it is up front with pepper. It's up front with that medium to full strength. Like it's from first pull, I'm like, oh, I'm smoking a pepper stick already. I just already know that.
And speaking of, looking forward to Pete Johnson's October release. Halloween's coming.
You already know, baby.
So
I showed you the other day. I still got 2 boxes of Skinny Monsters from last year that I haven't even opened. So every year that they come out, I buy 2 or 3 boxes. The Skinny Monsters, I've bought probably 6 boxes because they're so good. What I do every year, I hold on to one of those boxes and I make sure that I don't open it. So I'm aging all of the Little Monster series. Looking forward to see when it's coming up. What's the new one that's getting released this year?
I'm not sure. I got to look it up and see.
Oh, speaking of that, the only the only DuPont that I would buy is the DuPont Jason lighter that came out that they released with the Monster series, the Jason. Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
They have 2 of them. They have one that's all white, and the mask is outlined with the red, and they have one that's all red, and the mask is white on both sides of it, and it looks amazing. I mean, I think it's like $700, I think, and that's the mini, not the big one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one right there.
That's sharp.
So we had the Boris, so I'm wondering what's next. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, did pick up that Creedmoor from Frog Bones. Well, I haven't picked it up. I purchased it, but I have to find a place to put it.
I told you. Just keep it in my place right next to 308.
But you have not purchased the 308 yet. You said that you would purchase the 308 if I purchased the 645 Creedmoor.
True, I did.
I made said purchase.
You did not.
And sir,
You what, as we call it in our world, you need.
No, I didn't renege. I just haven't purchased it yet. Other things have moved up the priority list. So
I mean, it is $2,200, but well worth it. Well worth it. Oh, what went down the wrong hole?
That's drink.
Oh, because I said 2,200. I mean, look, when it comes out to reaching out and touching somebody,
Oh, you can never reach out and touch somebody like that. Have you ever been to their range?
mm-hmm.
I like
I
that.
love that range because it's air conditioned and you can shoot your ARs in there.
all ranges are air conditioned. I don't think they would.
I didn't see
And this is air
everything. I
conditioned.
came here.
And this is air conditioned. So we're talking like 70 degrees.
Like when you're sitting in there, you don't
So
feel.
you don't
You
sweat.
have no idea how cold it is outside, how hot it is outside. When you're in there.
When you got the rabbit ears on and the goggles and everything else, and you're fire, you have worked up
Nope.
the sweat. So
Not in there. They literally keep it at about 70 degrees. So it's perfect. You go in there, you're like, damn, it feels good here. Because I mean, some ranges you go in, they don't even have a fucking
You have
box.
to remember, they're right by the Banana River.
They're right across the street.
So
Actually.
I mean, it's humid there. So like when you're in that range, you come back out and it's like, wow.
And then you got to think about the salt water and the humidity and all those weapons. So you got to keep that humidity down. You got to keep that air cool.
There's some good guys
Right.
over there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the guys in my shop, he's a humongous gun guy, and he goes out there all the time. He used to have pretty much a working relationship with guns. We used to, on lunch breaks, go out there.
That's right. I had.
And they have a bar next, right in the same building.
Yeah, they have a bar and a restaurant
in the same
upstairs. I remember I took one of my ARs out there to go shoot at the range, and it kept misfiring. And I just got tired of it. So I was like, you know what? Let me go see what they have. And that's when I found the 6-hour AR. They came with the mag pull sights, but it also came with the 6-hour non-reflective sight with the beam. It was just completely tricked out. I think I paid, I want to say at least $200 under MSRP because they had a big sale for SIG going on. And so I've always been a fan of SIG anyway. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, let me try it out and shoot it. And then, so I took it out the box. They let me go shoot it. And I was like, yeah, I like this one. I'll take it. So he's like, no, we'll get you a new one. So they didn't even say, well, because you shot this one, then take this one. He's like, no. We'll get you one that hasn't had a round fired out of it since it left the factory. And I was like, shit. Because they just have some of them that are just test weapons so that you don't have to worry about it. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I got the email 2 weeks ago about the new 6 series, and I sent both of you guys a text.
Oh, and shout out to Doc. And shout out to Doc Pete. We saw him Thursday at Bellicoso.
Oh, yes,
He brought a bundle of the Boulevard.
Boulevard Bellicoso. Yep.
Yeah, Habano. So
Next year,
shout out to Pete
are
for
not
that.
easy to come by either.
That was very generous of him. So.
Oh, yeah.
You can get the number 2s, but those Bellicosos, you don't run into them.
And shout out also to Doc for putting himself in a position to want to help people get vaccinated against COVID. He has the Moderna vaccine available, so he's out here trying to save lives. And
So there's fuckhead getting that vaccine?
we are actively trying to get a friend of ours to take that vaccine.
He's still saying no?
He's saying he's weighing his options.
What options do you have? Like, seriously, you just had like a fucking, quadruple bypass. You almost fucking died.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Like, I'm not a proponent. And
you
then
can
I-
take him
but
to
then I
water, but
realized
you can't
something.
make him drink.
Then I realized something else. Maybe he doesn't have the kind of value on his life that we do. Maybe he doesn't want to
Well,
live.
shit, I would think that you do.
I would think so too, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's no logical explanation for a well-educated man like that, having gone through what he went through, to not want to get vaccinated. Maybe he's maybe he's dealing with some depression. Maybe it's because there's some other
Maybe he's
factors.
a pussy.
That'll make you change your mind.
Why did you get so quiet? Now you're sitting there.
Definitely make you change.
Well, anyway.
Our-
I wasn't the biggest fan of the vaccine, and I'm in the medical field. However, space, after having COVID, I was like, yeah, I don't want to feel this shit again. So if the vaccine, and I know and people think that the vaccine is the cure-all. No, it's a vaccine. It's not a cure.
You shouldn't die.
I said all it's going to do is minimize your symptoms. You're not going to have the full, and I didn't have the shortness of breath and all of that stuff. I had diarrhea and vomiting for 10 days straight.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. So talking about sitting on the toilet and holding a trash can in your leg waist, and you're going at the same time both ends for 10 days straight.
In the old days, you would just die.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a detox.
Yeah. So I lost 15 and a half pounds.
And now, on the heels of this virus wanting to continue to spread, there is now another variant called the R1, which is making its way through the world. No, not that R1. But it's also infecting people who have been vaccinated. So again, the longer a virus stays out in the wild, the more it mutates, the more dangerous it gets. The least it's affected by current vaccination. So again, we had COVID-19, we had Delta, there's Lambda, now there's R1, and who knows what else is coming as long as
And I can understand
and allow this virus to continue to stay in the wild and mutate.
And I understand from a certain perspective that you don't want to get a vaccination like the flu vaccination every year because you still get the flu. I get all that. Because I believe that too. I hate getting the flu shot because I get sick. But as a medical professional, I still have to remember that the sickness that I go through with the vaccine is probably 20 or 25% of the strength if I did not get the vaccine and caught the actual live virus that is out. So,
I guess I get it. My philosophy on it in regards to the shot is that I'm not gonna make you get it. I'm not gonna try to tell you that for us to go outside you got to do X, Y, and Z. I'm just gonna simply say it as simple as this: if you have underlying conditions, you don't have any explanation. There's no excuse. There's zero.
Even if you don't, because people who are perfectly healthy,
Well,
and in their 20s,
I can't argue that point, and I refuse to try to argue that point solely because I know as a healthy person, if I wasn't wearing a uniform,
die every day, bro.
Huh?
They die every day.
B.
You know what I'm saying?
They just scored again.
Yeah.
So I can't argue, and I'm not saying that that's not a valid point. I can't argue that point because as a person, if I wasn't wearing a uniform, I probably wouldn't care. The thing is, my perspective of it is, there's too many people that don't take care of themselves. They're not in good condition. You couldn't get them to run a quarter mile without dying.
Not even running. Yeah. Don't even go to the exercise part. Go to dying.
And here in Florida, if that vaccine was in sniffable powder, then everybody
Everybody doing it.
would be
I
vaccinated.
mean, if you're smoking, it's like meth.
If you want to do it, if you have underlying health conditions, you should take it. And at one point before FDA approval, I can understand that, and I get it. There's a lot of things that are FDA approved and they're trash. But the thing is that it being FDA approved changes the whole philosophy of suing and all this other stuff. It's going to change it eventually because at that point you're kind of responsible for it at that point.
Well,
here's the
Talk
problem.
about once the FDA grants general approval of something, then companies can mandate it. So even if you weren't in the military,
Yes, one of the companies I work for.
Your employer, because
and
they
they
did
do
it at my brother's company.
I work as an educator as well. And the college that I teach at said that by October 1st, it is mandatory. So if you do not have it, you do not have a job. And, people are hemming and hawing about like, oh, that's not fair. I'm like, you teach other people.
You're around people like that.
And most of our students
in a
are
medical
between
environment too.
18 and 25.
Now, if you had unlimited wealth and you lived on an island by yourself and you sourced your own food and didn't need to be interacting with anybody ever, then fine, have at it. But if you engage with other human beings at all, you can be asymptomatic and pass it to somebody who's.
That's what happened to me. Because that wasn't even one of the symptoms. Those two symptoms weren't symptoms until the VA reported it because I had it. And then they saw that, oh yeah, this is something that is a symptom with the virus.
Now the only caveat I have with that, and this is my main component of vaccination, is that if that's the case, then technically you're creating a bigger group of asymptomatic people. Because let's say that you were going to be asymptomatic, or let's say you weren't going to be asymptomatic with this virus. When you take this vaccination, there's a good chance you will be, which may ramp up the opportunity for the virus to spread itself because you won't know yet. And if you take where people look at vaccinations, you take a vaccination, you're assuming that I'm not passing it along because that's how people think. They think it's not going to make you sick or you don't have that sickness. So that's why, to me, I think it just kind of creates this excuse for people to just go along like nothing's changed. But things have changed. It's still the same. Right. Even if 100% of the people get vaccinated tomorrow, you're still in that world where you have to live with the idea that you can still pass this along.
Absolutely, and you speak to an important point which people miss on, and that's the educational aspect of it, because we're living basically in two Americas: the vaccinated and the vaccinated, the unvaccinated, and the dead. So it's just a question of where do you want to fit on one of those three spectrums. So, and that's what it boils down to.
Because I'm middle ground.
I mean, because think about what we got rid of: smallpox and polio and all these other infectious diseases
and that wasn't even 100 years ago.
They used to just take
massive
amounts of people out. But vaccinations, have reduced that by and large. So why not look at it from a public health perspective?
And then you got to kind of look at, even though I know there's a lot of long-term effects that it could a lot of things that could affect us long term in regards to our health and our body, given how this vaccination attacks the body. And I get that. But my thing is, and it's just like when I've told everybody that's asked me about doing it, is that I always want to see the things that I can actually analyze about how this is going to affect you as a person. Because I can't say 10 years down the line. But what I can do now that the United States government has made me take it is that whatever happens, that's their responsibility now.
True.
So to me, like I said, me taking the vaccination, because I'm on shot 1, I'm going to take shot 2 next weekend. When I take this, I can't tell you because of me, because my reasoning for doing it is totally different than everybody else's reason, because I could give a shit about going out or doing whatever. I think the world's going to still roll around like it always has.
Of course.
Given I've seen way worse situations where chemicals affect people and it's been way worse. But the thing is that I'm doing it for my reason. You kind of have to look at yourself and find your reason for doing it and understand that part of it is going to involve you getting the shot. You're going to live in a world where it's going to be either you have it, you're already there now. So you kind of you have it and you're on one side and you don't have it, you're on the other side. It's just how humans work. We're going to always consolidate into whichever group we want to fall into.
Let's just think about it this way, though. You're worried about putting a vaccine into your body that could possibly cause problems, but could definitely help you. But on the other hand, you've watched over the past 20 years with cigarettes in the truth.com how cigarettes have completely destroyed people's lives and killed them, and you're still willing to pay a premium, it's almost $7 to $10 for a 20-pack of cigarettes, and those motherfuckers kill people every day, B.
And you
Every day.
And you made another
and you
great
voluntarily choose that.
And you made a great point Thursday. Sugar.
Sugar is the worst thing.
Sugar is the most addictive thing on the planet. It's more addictive than heroin, crack, cocaine, and crystal meth.
Yep.
So if you're
and it's socially acceptable to consume.
And you can get it
in large quantities.
And you can get it anywhere, everywhere, 24 hours a day. Unlimited.
And the thing is what kills me, one of the issues I've always had with sugar is that people openly accept the amount of sugar that they're consuming. Like, when you don't even think about it. But you gotta think about it. Like, you have to realize your dependency. Like, even when I start slowly adding more sugar to my coffee, I'm acknowledging the fact that it went from this much to that much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
incrementally, it gets you.
And you have to notice that. And the thing is when you're not cooking your own food, it's hard to notice it because to you think, oh, well, it's not cake, so they're not putting sugar in. No, they put sugar in everything.
First of all, let's break it down to simple sugars are carbs.
Correct.
So all your pastas, all your rice, your mashed potatoes, all of those things that you love, mac and cheese.
So we can't even get to that because
even a lot of your fruits.
Yeah, but we can't even get to that because if you're not cooking your own food, you don't even have a clue what's in anything.
No, you don't.
So, I mean, if you want to say pasta, at least you're putting anything aside of that pasta in there. When you're not making anything, everything you eat has sugar. The sauce or the preservatives.
These double espresso martinis.
Yeah. I was trying to slow. I wanted to make sure I finished mine after you because I didn't want to seem like alcoholics go to meetings. My mom didn't raise a quitter. So, here's to you, Mom.
Quitter's a quitter.
Here's to you, Mom.
Wow.
Here's to your
We
mom.
just took a whole
Quitter's a
Albuquerque with that one.
That's it.
So, but anyway, that's our take on.
That's our rant for the day.
Yes, on COVID, but because at the end of the day, I don't want to see anybody die who could and should still be here.
I don't want to sound cold, but the coldness in me is like,
Guess what I said?
some of us ain't meant to be here, B.
No, but
I hate to say it,
but
if you look at it.
But it's the people who are left behind, like like people we know who've lost family members.
Well, yeah.
It's
I
the
mean,
people that are left behind that are left to pick up those pieces.
but you gotta, when you come in this world and you're past, I would say, the age of at least 22, you have almost a fundamental understanding that you have two things guaranteed: you'll be born and you will die.
Correct.
And that's the reality of the world.
And your life mission should be to preserve your life.
Preserve your life.
Yeah.
As long as humanly
And
possible.
you should have a good thermometer on your life
And
on where you are with it in regards to your health.
Because we all want to leave a bit of a legacy that shows the world we were here and we tried to do things that made this world a little bit better. certainly at least for the people that we care about and
Absolutely.
our family members. And you will have a completely different take and perspective on this when you become a dad. So.
I remember I was listening to Kevin Samuels on
my favorite guy.
Jumper. I like that guy because you know what? I like him because
He's
not a
even.
bullshitter. He's even too.
Because
He's just
women are
coming
like, oh,
like
he gives a wooden bad name. I'm like, no. I was like, have you seen some of his interviews with guys?
Yeah. He's straightforward.
I was like,
He's
he
just straight
does not give a fuck.
to the
He's going to give you whatever the truth is. And you're not going to like it, because, damn, he put me on blast. But at the same time, he's straightforward.
But he was saying that, your life is that dash in between your born date and your death date.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little more to it in regards to who you have a life with, your life partner with, and all that. But that's a real, I took more of that than anything because that people forget about that in between time. And oftentimes, especially with regard to health, is that we always look at life like it's supposed to get to a point where we plateau and we just supposed to ride.
No.
But no, you don't. To me,
Life is to be lived.
before I ever
You're
really
not
listened,
supposed to exist.
before I ever really listened to Nipsey Hussle, that has always been my philosophy. Life is a marathon.
Yeah.
You are always in that
Always
race.
on.
You're never not racing. Even when you 80, even if you're 135, you're still in that life race to do something different.
Yeah, that's why you got COVID and chlamydia running rampant at the villages. The old folks are going over the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and then lose. You got
Pineapples in the cart.
But if it's on the golf cart, you know what I'm saying? You got to know what them
And
colors mean.
they done started. The villages have been doing some real development too.
Yeah,
They got them cart lanes now and everything.
Well, they're trying to bring more younger folks in to take care of them.
yeah, they want to glaze some raisins.
Whoa. Bad.
The views of Sir Shirts and Shoes are not necessarily the views of ATF Radio
Yeah, they
or
are.
its affiliates.
Yeah, they are.
Ah, fuck, you're right. It's like a Krispy Kreme
Got
conveyor
paid
belt.
for wrinkles. All right then.
So what you been drinking lately? Both of you. What you been sipping on at home?
My morning thing now, you're going to laugh at me, but
No.
because I don't go to work till 11, so I, get up at about 7:30 still. Well, I get up at 6, I lay in the bed till 7:30, then I go and have my morning cigar. And I'm drinking Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
I still have yet to try that. It doesn't sound good on the surface to me, but I heard
It's like a Reese's
phenomenal.
peanut butter cup. It is amazing.
You drink it on the rocks, or what do you do?
Not, neat. So everything's neat. But that's my morning drink.
Okay.
And then I have my espresso afterwards. And I've knocked off 3 bottles of Sexton in the past week and a half.
Okay.
You need to sign on games.
So, I mean, my man raised no bitch.
In the words of YG, my man raised no dog. Nah, I haven't had any.
Oh, shout out to Rihanna, by the way. Yeah. Look, man,
Now that she's reached billionaire status, or did you get that robe finally?
I still ain't got my robe yet, but I'm shouting her out because she reached the billionaire status. And
That's
I know you were ASAP Rocky, and I know I got ladies, but I will be your pool boy.
ASAP.
You know what I'm saying? I'll clean the
That's a
pool.
good match, though.
Nah, she's better with me, but I mean, she's not even
Ever since she did that song,
She's taking it with ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, heavy.
they heavy. No jokes.
I'm like, I think I'm a cry.
It ain't
If they get announced to get married, I'm gonna cry.
It ain't even like a profile thing. They vibe
hit it.
hard. I've seen like people do IG lives or IG videos where they've seen her showing up at his concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just pop up. Like,
Shout-
way out of place.
And shout out to Adele, because she's dating Rich Paul, LeBron James' agent.
Oh shit.
I saw her coming.
Yeah.
She's still paying that ex-husband?
No, he's paid off.
Oh, he's paid off.
Yeah.
So all these years she's been singing to us. She finally came over here.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming. I seen it in the
Shout out to Idris Elba. Unfortunately, he will not be the next James Bond.
They announced it.
Eat this.
They announced it.
I hate it here.
Because I know Barbara Broccoli, who's the producer of the Bond franchise, said he would make a great Bond. And
Correct.
Daniel Craig even
It's
said
here.
he would make a great Bond.
It's just
Right,
English people.
But Ian Fleming,
I hate it here.
It's dead.
right, but they're trying to respect his wishes.
He didn't have wishes around color. He had wishes
Oh,
around
they
character.
do though, because the philosophy of who the character is to some English people is that he's supposed to be a certain texture.
Yeah. So that's why.
That's their philosophy. Because I've heard that before, and I was like, why? Does it really? Because he just like, and some people were saying, I remember I heard a debate where somebody said that he wouldn't be able to blend, and James Bond is a blending kind of character. Like his ability to cloak in the environment he's in. I was like, black people everywhere, right? Like really?
Well, worldwide, people with color are the majority.
The majority. Like, who came up with this? Like, who sent you?
That's
Fucked up.
That's a racist ideology.
Yeah, it really is. Because he would play the character so well.
Well,
So,
I mean,
you
but
know,
in that one
also-
movie, he said
but
he was a
you
black
know-
James Bond anyway.
You know, we need
Make our own character.
yeah, we need our own character and our own series.
I just think that I've always said that.
Joined by day, saves the world by night.
I always said that, and then, at first I was saying that I thought Jimmy Fox would be a good character.
Nah, fuck him.
You like Jimmy Fox?
Tired of his ass.
They do.
It's like Kevin Hart. Tired of him.
Not Kevin Hart.
Now, you know who would have been a great one had he lived? Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, of course.
Oh, he's been awesome.
Also, the brother that played Mbaku.
Yeah,
he was
yes.
good.
Yes.
Because I saw him in the one with Mark Wahlberg.
I saw that too.
And he was very good.
Yeah. So there are a few out there. So, but that's all right. That's all right.
I just want to see that character. I would like.
Idris might be too good for that role, to be honest with you.
I think he would bring a lot of different philosophy to that character because, and then especially with Craig, the way that he's transitioned that character to what he is now.
That
He's my
transition.
second favorite.
I'm not gonna
Next
lie.
to
When he
Sean
first
Connery.
came out,
Sean
when he first
Connery
came out,
is
I hated him.
my number
I
one.
didn't really care for his character in that because it was just it kind of took away. He became more rugged to me. But then after a while, I started liking it because I like the fact that he's a secret agent, so he's killing a lot of people.
Yeah, because I thought Roger Moore was too soft.
Roger Moore would know.
Timothy Dalton wasn't good.
Now, here's Roger.
I like Chris Brosnan. I like Chris Brosnan.
To me, he was the softest out of all of them.
And to me, I couldn't see him in that role because I was used to him playing Remington Steele. So, which is kind of
I like him in Goldeneye.
a knockoff-ish type.
Yeah, see, to me, I don't know.
Tomorrow Never Dies. I didn't like him.
The way he portrayed Bond was just, and Bond is an educated person, very thinking and forward thinking, but he didn't have the ruggedness that, Sean Connery.
He wasn't rugged at all.
Like Sean Connery was just,
He was
quintessential.
He was the one.
That was just.
And the guy what was the guy that came before Pierce Brosnan that looked a lot like Pierce Brosnan?
Timothy Dalton. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't care
I
for
like him.
I didn't care for him either.
He just didn't have. To me, he didn't
have that personality.
He didn't have any personality, but it kind of felt a little more believable because it was kind of like,
You know who I'd love to see in the role of? Who? Jason Statham. Because of the ruggedness.
the only reason why I would say that I would.
and the way he portrays even the transporter.
Now,
Yeah,
even though
Very smart.
That's one of my
Very
favorite series.
physical.
I love him in the Transport.
I would say that, but I don't. I like his character, but as that character, I wouldn't see him as a character because to me, James Bond has a certain smooth eloquentness about him, where he's that kind of. I'm slick, but I'm a shit talker. He kind of reminds me of what's that fighter name? Conor McGregor. He reminds me of an acting version of Conor McGregor.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely no one.
People hate him, but
I love him.
I like how he is.
Now,
He's a good villain. He's just enough cocky. I don't like Floyd.
I like the way he walks. He just
Floyd
walks
is
in there
just-
like,
Over the top. You know what I'm saying?
but see, that's the thing. In that arena, villains make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's happy playing the villain because he gets him paid. Just like Floyd Mayweather.
but that's all McGregor is for.
Is the villain.
McGregor, to his, he might say different, but to me, McGregor is more. I want to get paid.
Yeah.
It's just what it's all about.
I bought my fucking.
It's not really about winning as much as it is about making money, losing or winning.
And he wins enough to stay valid.
Stay relevant. Yeah.
Because him fighting Floyd was, crapshoot. It didn't make a difference whether he won or lost.
I look at it as Floyd gave him payday.
Because if he loses, him losing, I think he went in there knowing he would not beat him. I think his
because
mindset.
it's a boxing match.
Yeah, he's
And
not
let's
a
be real.
boxer.
Right.
Let's be
So
real.
who's
And
gonna
had
do
it
this?
in the main fight, that shit would have been done in 10 seconds.
He knows
Nigga
that.
fucking Superman kicked him in the
And that's the thing. People, I've heard people say that he's dumb. No, McGregor is very smart.
Yeah.
Because everything he does is strategic.
Yeah.
He never gets in something he doesn't see a win out of it.
Look how he set up proper 12 whiskey. Like the dude just moves the pieces on the chessboard, and you don't even see it coming. And the next thing you know, boom, his name's all over the paper, all over the internet. And he's just doing shit. You gotta love him, or you can hate him. Either way.
Oh, also coming to executive in October is Foghat, the
Classic rock band.
classic rock. So looking forward to that as well. So for those who like Foghat, come on out and see it.
I do have another announcement. The executive sprinter van is getting wrapped and taken care of. And we're going to start doing events. We're going to start doing the show on the road. And we're going to start doing local sporting events and private events for cigars. So, if you are interested, please reach out to us at the ATF Radio Show at iCloud.com
Or
or
reach out to me individually at
Shoot us a DM.
at artmanforever.com.
Arts DMs.
it goes down to our DMs. Did you see his new one?
He's about to lose his member if he keeps messing around.
All I know is if you start eating spaghetti at the beach, I'm fucking done with you.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
That's the
Yeah,
only
don't
thing.
do that shit.
And they bring it in the cast iron pot so they can just sit it in the sand and keep warm all day. But I'm like, what about the sand?
I'm not knocking it, but I'm just not.
I'm not. Like spaghetti at the beach, bro? It's like chicken wings and fries and subs. Spaghetti?
I'm too bougie.
You know what I'm saying?
Too bougie. Give me some cheese. Crackers, some cheese.
Oh, I don't know. Did we discuss much of it the other day? Your take on that Rosh Patel 60?
Oh, phenomenal cigar. Even though I never say their name on air. Phenomenal cigar. Not gonna lie, I do not believe that that's one of their blends.
They did not.
It says it was aged for 2 years at Rocky's
So
facility.
that's when they aged it at their place. It was probably aged somewhere else. Because that cigar to me
Not taste like a rock.
is the epitome of a Don Pepin cigar. I mean, it's got the medium to full strength on it, and from the first puff to the last,
It had a little New Orleans.
it was a complete pepper bomb. Like I mean,
I can
even
see
on,
that when
even
you
on a
come
cold
to-
draw.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
shit,
that's
this is
good to a certain extent.
Oh, and shout out to our local friend Don Patel over at Cigars. This concluded this week the 25-year run for him at Cigars on the Avenue, on Park Avenue in Warner Park. He's moving to his new location.
That new location looks great, by the way.
He's moving to what his talents looking for location.
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
the street.
Yep, down the street. We'll still be in Winter Park, but he will.
The LeBron James of Park Avenue,
That's right. That's right.
The most hated.
the most hated,
Hated.
He's serving alcohol.
just retailer. Period.
They should have him and Sanj.
Him and Sanj on the show. Oh,
That would be
Oh, and we're still trying to get Don on the show.
Oh, we got to.
We have to. We have to.
Motherfucker.
I'll kick you out.
Yeah. Great cigar man, knows his stuff.
I told Don that. I was like,
Great person.
man, I came in here, the customers, I hated them. And then I met you, I was like, oh, I can still do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my first experience was not a good experience there, but he wasn't there. He was
Same.
there. It was somebody who doesn't work.
Matter of fact, I think I've been going through that area for like almost 2 years before I even realized he was the owner. And I came in one day, he's talking shit to somebody. I was like, who's this Indian?
Yeah.
You know, no racial, but still. I'm like, who's this guy? That
Yeah,
makes
so-
me wonder. You probably know this better than me because you know that's part of your heritage too. What has drawn Indian people to the cigar industry?
Money.
I mean, obviously. I mean,
Money.
yes, you said it's money.
Because I've never run across
Not gonna lie
a
to you.
large group of people who are Indian, not Native American Indian, but Indian, who are interested in cigars.
Yeah, they seem to be.
Money. It's a numbers game.
Because I know a lot of them that do seem to run shops, and I'm like, okay.
And you don't see a lot of Indian smokers per se.
Yeah,
Cigars.
yeah.
It's just cigarettes, but not cigars.
Actually, when I was there Monday, his wife was there.
Charming. She's wonderful. She is.
I didn't know she smoked.
Neither.
She was smoking when we were there. Oh shit.
She has beautiful eyes.
Oh, she does. That's the first thing you notice about her. Like, you don't notice anything else about her, and then you're like, wow. Okay.
Beautiful, dark complexion. She's got these bluish gray eyes. So they're very sweet.
I'm always tempted to ask her, how do you tame this guy?
You know, it's just,
I think it's the opposite. Because she's more calm and he's more.
Yeah, he's a live wire. So, yeah. They make it work.
I guess it's the same thing in all our relationships because you too. You're the Clark Kent, mild mannered.
You are.
Me? Yeah.
On a good.
Well,
Most of the time.
Yeah, because you're very strategic in your thought process. You may not necessarily say a lot, but you are always evaluating.
Whereas I'm more like the Hulk. I'm just like smash.
You are.
Fuck you and everything you stand for.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, I'll burn this house down. I do have that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, to me, that's
Well,
why.
that's why you're so,
people
but you're
say
so
that.
mild-mannered. You know, because people when they first meet me, they're like, "Oh, you're so quiet," blah, blah. And then they take me for granted. And then when that other side comes out, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
shit."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think when I hear people say that about me, I'm always like, really? Because to me, I feel like I'm always keeping hope at bay, and I'm keeping myself from burning the house down. But I do realize with me,
I've never seen even a hint of that side of you.
Yeah, see, I wake up and choose violence every day.
yeah, I'm just trying to stop people.
Like I do, like my alarm clock ringtone is like one of the most violent dancehall reggae songs ever. And that's how I wake up every morning. And everybody else who hears my alarm, they're like, yeah. It's almost like that. And I wake up and everybody's like, how did you wake up to this and you're in a good mood? I was like, I don't know.
Because even when I was younger, people used to say that a lot. The thing that I got a lot when I was a kid was you smile.
What's wrong with that? You're happy.
But people don't. Exactly. So people, especially with men, and particularly whether you realize it or not with black men, we don't always give off that really friendly vibe.
That's because our heads are always on the swivel.
Yeah. But when I was young, I didn't have that. I always tell people all the time. I got to grow up to be a kid. I was able to be one. I didn't have to deal with the same issues a lot of people I knew to deal with. I just woke up and just be a kid every day. So for me, I was always happy. I was happy. I was never unhappy. So yeah, I mean, as I got older, it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Come on, Georgia State, you guys are better. But I never did have that. It wasn't until I really got in the military that I had to turn on that active engagement mode all the time.
And that's the same thing with me. I mean, the same thing. I was that mild-mannered kid. My first date was prom, my senior year of high school. Like, I didn't go out, I didn't party, I wasn't a troublemaker. And then I joined the Army at 17. And, even when I came back from basic training at AIT, my mom was like, this is the son that left.
And you should, if you ever were to meet my mom and my dad, they'll tell you I was the easiest kid in the world to raise. Like, literally easiest to the extent that I did raising another kid would have been scary if they weren't remotely like me because I didn't ask for nothing. I wasn't a complainer. I didn't cry. I didn't make a when I was a baby, I cried. But when I was, a teenager, like, I could leave and they didn't have to think, well, where the hell is he? What is he doing? It was just always like, you're always going to come back. You're going to come back when you're supposed to come back. You never got in no trouble. So, like, some kids in high school, college, they just always looking for trouble. Me, I just trying to stay out of trouble. I ain't going to say I didn't do no dirt, but I always try to keep my business my business.
See, I went to University of Maryland Eastern Shore on my break between AIT and getting my duty station. And again, and again, being in the military, there just didn't do anything, because you knew that there was a structure, and if you fucked it up, you were in trouble. Yeah. And so when I went to college for the year, I only went for a year. My childhood friend who joined the military with me, he went the National Guard route to become an officer and go to college. So I met him there, and the first night he comes over, it's like a Tuesday night, and he comes over to my dorm to pick me up. And he's like, come on, we're about to go to this party. And I'm like, party? What are you talking about? It's like, it's a Tuesday. And he was like, what are you going to do? Call and ask your mom if you can go? And I was like, well, kind of. And he was like, you're a grown ass man. He's like, you're 19.
And
He's
that's
like,
the
you don't
college
have to
experience is
ask.
about, too.
Yeah, he's like, you don't have to ask permission. You're an adult now. And when he said that, my whole mind frame for the rest of my life changed. I was like, oh shit, I'm responsible for my own decisions. So that means I can do what the fuck I want. Like, because if I get in trouble, I have to deal with it. I have to deal with those consequences.
Yeah, and so all the value system and everything that you were raised with, that's when it really all comes into play.
Oh yeah.
When you were in a position to make those own decisions.
And I've made some questionable choices and decisions, and I've also learned from them. I learned that there are certain things that you just shouldn't do. Yeah, he is.
And thankfully, I have gentlemen like the two of you in my corner who will keep me honest on things, and I know
Trying to keep you from losing your man
if
part.
the shit hits the fan, I know.
I know where to bury the body. So
I mean, you know, and I'm the same way. I didn't really, but I guess when I was in college, I didn't party with people I didn't know. Like, you know, granted, I didn't live in a bigger city, but there's a lot of stuff you can get caught up in that has nothing to do with you. But I also, too, grew up on a particular side of town where I kind of knew what the trouble was and what it looked like.
Yeah.
So
I stayed away from it. But most of the time, I'm not going to lie, I mean, we did some stuff. And the thing is, you know, that's why.
Glad there weren't cell phones back then.
oh man,
Like, and this was the cusp of when cell phones became a thing.
right? The camera phone.
But you couldn't catch people in any bad acts. And the thing is that's kind of my hope for society is that, you know, particularly people that look like us, or young men that look like us, because we got to be kids and we didn't have to pay a lot of consequences for some of the stuff that, you know, you shouldn't have to pay that much of consequence for. Having a good time and just making a couple mistakes is not a big deal. Everyone's going to do it.
Yes.
And we were allowed to kind of do some crazy stuff and then deal with police, and it ends in a good way.
Yep.
But most of it was because we were so educated and so smart that when we engaged, we knew how to turn off party mode and be like, okay, sir, this is
Literally responsible.
literally, we were in the backyard of my friend's house. We had a bonfire, which was highly illegal where we were, because you're not supposed to set fires in the middle of a residential neighborhood in the city. And cop comes over, and our whole mindset is, okay, sober up. Let's have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah.
And the cop rolls over. We're thinking he's going to be like, hey, this and that, and hassle us. He literally was like, hey, we heard you guys were parking by the church. The residents, the church, people in the church don't want people to park over there. You guys move the cars. And we're thinking, you don't see this big ass fire right here? Like did you miss this? And man,
because you know, and part of it is, I think back then we were raised to respect cops, but also they respected us a little bit more. You know, it wasn't an automatic jumping to a conclusion in certain areas. And I think that has kind of changed with societal views, because if you look at, you know, a lot of people complain and say, you know, Blue Lives Matter and these things like that. And not
Which I fundamentally disagree with, because
Right.
I was born blue.
and
That's
that's
a
my
choice.
thing. That's my thing. My thing is,
You can take that
you know,
uniform off.
you can take that uniform off. You can choose another job. This skin I've been born in, that's it.
it's just, and
I think that's one of those things that we have
the
to
only-
God made us
understand.
beautiful and bad.
the only devil advocate that I can have for it is to also as well. There's no excuse for disrespecting or treating somebody wrong, but you also have to realize the situation you're in, and you have to engage people, even if they are. You got to assume that person may not be the most professional person they can be at that moment.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's kind of always given me majority of the time a good experience is understanding that the person, regardless of whether they're wearing a uniform or not, is a person.
Right.
So if I say something that's going to agitate them, they're going to be agitated, regardless of whether they should or
And
shouldn't.
they're in a position.
And they're in a position of authority, and they have the upper hand on me at this point.
Which is why we are raised to deal with cops differently, you know, because we don't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt. So we have to maintain calm and so forth. And I've been in situations with cops where they actively try to agitate me
Oh yeah.
to have a reason or an excuse for things to go south or bring me in. But I was able to keep my calm and composure, because my thought process is, when I interact with police officers, is I'm trying to get home safe.
Because my philosophy is that even I know when in particular in military, you always look for cover before concealment. But to me, concealment is great because if you don't know I'm there, then you can't shoot at me. And my mindset when I say that, why I say concealment, is that sometimes if you can engage with a person with concealment rather than hiding behind something, it gives you an ideology that you're not guilty.
Correct.
So if you don't have a reason to see me guilty, I haven't given you any reason to think I'm guilty. I don't have to throw a camera in your face. I don't have to do anything. All I need to do is just be.
Oh.
I don't think he got it. He touched that white.
It's both.
Well, you got to drag.
No, but if the foot touches right on that line, it's not out of bounds. He has to be before the line.
Oh.
And I think he kicks the dirt at the line, and that's considered out of bounds. But they might. It depends.
That's a great catch.
If it's an overturn, they probably won't. They'll give it to him. But if it's the confirmed, I don't think
He laid out. I'll give him that.
that's a good. I'm telling you that Arkansas quarterback is a monster. And he was a monster last year, but I think he got hurt. Him and that Indiana quarterback.
Yes.
That Indiana quarterback was really good. He got hurt towards the end of the season.
For those curious, we're watching on the screen in front of us the Arkansas Texas A&M. So,
Arkansas is giving it to
Texas A&M getting dog
They
right now.
They get the crap beat out of them right now. It's not even. And the thing is Arkansas is playing like they're still trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Like they just scored
Both of these teams
twice.
are
ranked.
In less than a minute they scored twice.
And my problem, going back to what you were talking about, my biggest issue are the police officers that look like us.
Well, history always dictates they're going to treat us the way that
Like
we are.
that's my fundamental biggest problem. Is the ones who look like us are the ones who treat us the worst.
That's what
In
I say.
every single experience I've had, and I've never been arrested or detained, ever. But I've been pulled over. I've been pulled for questioning, things like that. But it just always seems like, it's our own giving us, not giving us the benefit of the doubt.
And that's interesting too because when I started moving around outside of the place that I grew up. I always was told the philosophy of how police treat you or how people treat you was worse in the South than anywhere, and I was like, that ain't necessarily true. I totally disagree with that because the thing is, and I'll tell you this: if you've never been to the South, with the way that
Florida's not the South, by the way.
don't count Florida. Florida is its own land. But if you ever go to the South and you deal with a police officer, the thing is with a Southern police officer is that humanity. If you give him the reasonable belief that he's a normal person, just trying to do his job, it's gonna work out most of the time. But I've gone to places where I literally seen cops, particularly north, where they just totally disrespect you.
It's because they have a badge on, they automatically feel like
and
they're less than them.
I literally been to situations that had nothing to do with me. I wasn't even there. I never seen him. Monster too. That dude right there, particularly, he's had a couple of catches. But I've been to places particularly had nothing to do with me, and they're asking me, and I'm like, well, what's going on? It's like, let me see your ID. Me being the person that I am, and being a compliant individual, knowing I had nothing to do with it, I'll pull out my ID.
See, that's
first thing you notice. The first thing you notice, though, is I told you, just like I show you my ID now. The first thing you see in my wallet is my military card. The second you see that card, all of a sudden it changes.
Yeah.
Now I'm on your side. No, I'm not on your side. I'm a person. I'm a civilian right now. I'm not wearing anything.
Well, see, that's been my problem a lot because I'm not that person that's quote unquote compliant. Because you have to have a reasonable suspicion that I've done a crime or I'm in the commission of a crime. So, why, out of everybody on the street, should I show you my identification? You haven't asked for anybody else's. And I'm that person that's like, oh, you were smart, I should think you're a lawyer. Like, no, I'm just an educated individual. And for me, you have to give me reasonable suspicion on why you're asking for my ID.
Now,
And that's something that, and my dad hates it. He's like, no, just do what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, I am.
I agree with it.
I said, I am doing what I'm supposed to do.
Because aren't you supposed to?
Like you're supposed to identify
Aren't you
yourself.
supposed to identify yourself?
That's the concept. But and the thing is that when I say that and me complying, it's not saying that you not wanting to is wrong. So,
Oh,
I know you
understand
understand that. I just wanted, because I know there's more than just us here hearing what I'm saying. It's not saying that you're not complying, because bar none, as a free person, I shouldn't have to show you. Because if I give you my ID, what is that going to show you? That you saw my name? So if something else happens and you know my name, are you going to tie me to the last time you saw me? So you're not even taking into consideration all the information you know about the situation you're dealing with. You're basing it on the fact that you took my ID before, you recognize me, you see my name, and you're putting me with that situation.
Right.
So that's why I don't agree with it, and I don't think it's right. And honestly, I shouldn't have to give you anything if I haven't done anything.
But my natural inclination is to think they want to run you to see if there's anything else prior that
Yep.
they can trip you up on.
And exactly. And then it's also, too, now that I know more about how the system works, you pull my ID and you check it, it runs through the system. That's metadata. If they're keeping up with it, they run your name. They run your name. And that you can't say that's not going to play in a situation I might be involved in years later.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of always been my problem with police officers. Not saying particularly police officers, but when I've had to get a ticket. If you're going to give me a ticket, give me a ticket. If you're going to give me a warrant, understand you're putting me in the system saying that, hey, I engaged this individual. And that's just as bad to a certain extent, but I guess it's a trade-off because you're not getting a ticket, you have to pay for it. So,
Continue.
like oatmeal.
Always.
So I don't agree with it either. I don't really like the idea of it. If I'm involved and I'm a suspect, okay, cool. I'm a suspect. I obviously would. Ooh, almost turn over. I would like to understand why. And I think that's a reasonable question to ask.
Why? Because they always say, a lot of times they will say, oh, you fit. Remember that whole thing? They would always say, fit the description.
I know I don't really fit on that description, so we can move past that philosophy. But I mean, and at the end of the day, even with all the things I have, my only thing is I only bring up the gripes because I love the people who do the job enough to let them know, hey, this is why people feel the way they do. Because my dad was out there, and I understand what that's like. And I know a lot of other people that are out there, and I have nothing but respect for people.
Well, your dad's an honorable man. That's the thing. If you're an honorable person, before you put the uniform on, ideally the expectation is that you will be an honorable person with the uniform on. There are a lot of people and let's talk historically, when the Klan effectively disbarred or didn't have the numbers of enrollment they used to have back in the day, a lot of people who wanted to enforce these ideologies got into law enforcement because they can hide under cover of the badge and the power that comes with it.
And that also too reminds me of this thing with the Border Patrol. That's just and it's one of those things. Is like if you get caught, you're doing something wrong, just suck it up. As you messed up, you made a mistake. But when I think it was like the fraternal order coming out and saying, well, they weren't whips, they were they're the reins for the horses. Well, I don't know if you've ever ridden a horse before, but a rein on a horse was actually used at some point in time to hit animals and people. Yeah. And you can use it the same way you can use whipping. I don't know if you've ever felt reins on a horse. That's hard leather.
Yeah.
Like it's literally a whip.
Yeah.
So to me, when you see those images, man, even if you weren't, you got to understand that looks questionable. Like that just doesn't look good. And when it doesn't look good, perception is everything.
Absolutely.
And you know, it doesn't help that you. Now if they could have took a couple of pictures of some black guys on horses doing it, it might not look so bad, but it still would have been bad. But when you got these guys with Stetsons on, they own horses, they got Border Patrol, and they literally pulled out the reins to do what? Why is the rein extended like that, if that's the case? To do what? And you got these, obviously, these people that don't look armed, they don't look like they can do anything but run, and you're chasing them on a horse, that just looks very bad. Very bad.
That's a beautiful boat right there.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, get a boat like that.
Please do.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Right?
And so going back to that other point, one of the cases as we take this that has made national news was the case of Gary Petito, who was found dead, and they can't find the boyfriend. They had been previously stopped by the police. The police let this guy go. I hate to say it, but had that been me, I would have been detained. So there's a different standard at play here too.
What my feeds has been going on a lot is, and I guess I understand it. It's I guess it's just a matter of perspective too. I've been seeing about this young man from Alabama A&M that's been missing. I guess they just found him dead not too long ago. But there was like nothing on the news about it.
No.
You know, nobody knew. And the only reason why I knew is because apparently he went to school that was in the same city that I grew up in, and everybody was a proponent for what happened to him, what's going on, this and that. And I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know a lot about it. I just know there's something that I've heard a lot about, and I know there's been a big thing with indigenous women that are missing.
Yes.
It's like why? It just seems like why aren't these people being? Why is it not relevant? Why do we? I always wonder why do we fall into these particular people that come up missing, and it's a thing where you got these tons and thousands of other people that are missing. Nobody ever talks about. You don't even know they're missing. You could be walking by them every day and not know they're missing. Knowing how bad, especially in Central Florida, how bad human trafficking is here.
Mm-hmm. And
people come here on vacation with their kids, unaware they're in one of the human trafficking capitals in the U.S. You know, it happens all the time here.
Yeah, it does. It does. But
It's sad though. I mean, just
very.
how that happens and people just being around it and not. Yeah. So it's sad, man. And to find her, and if you watch enough shows and enough of the documentaries about missing people, you are 48 hours chances of being alive slim to none. That's just like on clickbait. Oh shit, man! That show. You seen clickbait yet? You have to like. Did you see the ending?
I still haven't finished.
Oh, you haven't seen it? I haven't finished. Who do you think killed?
Bro, at this point, I don't know because everybody's been a suspect and nobody's.
Is that Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Who was what episode are you on? Where you at now?
Where they cleared the brother of the girl who killed herself.
Oh, this shit gonna be crazy. Because now you know how he ended up on the internet. What happens after he leaves will blow your mind. You gonna be like, no, man, they ain't happen that way. You don't even see it coming. You'll never see it coming. I guarantee you, nobody can tell me they saw that show in the first. I'll give you the first half of the show. You could not guess who killed that. You will not. I guarantee you will never guess. Never in a million years. I don't care if you're a detective. There's no way. Not without knowing way more information. And that's what I love about that kind of show is that
They give you bits and pieces.
if you're smart, you don't guess yet because you don't know nothing to guess.
Yeah.
If you're guessing, you're just shooting crap at that point. You don't know. But if you watch it and you pull all the information together, you almost can't. You have to wait almost to the end to know who did it. I mean, you won't guess it off the top. That show, and I was watching Squid Games.
I haven't started that.
That was pretty good.
I'm looking for Dear White People just came out.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
new season too. I love that show.
I'm watching that show, that South Africa show, Blood in the Water. It's
I haven't seen that.
Netflix.
it's on Netflix. It's a drama, a South African drama about this girl whose sister was missing since she was born. They were twins, and she was missing. And she thinks this girl she goes to school with is her sister. And it's like, it's just this mystery. She's trying to figure it out. It's all right. I mean, but after watching it for a while, I think I got caught in one of those days where I didn't have anything better to do. And now I got to watch to see how they end. And this is supposed to be the last season.
Oh, closing out. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page for the link. I'm in the Legendary Dad Bod competition.
I voted for you.
You vote every day. It's a 2-page spread in the Men's Journal and $25,000, which will go to cigars
And
guns.
And today is National Daughter Day, and I have to admit, giving Cigar Snob his props. You are a phenomenal dad.
Thank you.
too. Caitlin's an example that I hope my daughters follow. Right? Shit. Can't speak anymore. I hope they grow up to be half the person she already is, because
Kept your baby off the pole.
yep, that's it. I got 4 of them to keep off the pole.
Thank you both for that. I appreciate it. Hey, as you know, Cigar Snob, and as you will find out, you know, there are no perfect kids, there are no perfect parents. You do the best you can to get them ready to be productive members of society, hopefully live out their dreams, and hopefully continue to stair step. You know,
In the words of Players Club, you got to use what you got to get what you want, but you want to use the brain to get it.
listen to the Cigar Snob.
Chris Rock said, you ain't got no judge for fathers, but your daughter is a stripper. You are horrible. You are horrible.
Fucked up. White. This is a Cigar Snob alongside Sheriff 4 Steve and
Where'd you get all that from?
Sir Shirts and
That's a Southern girl right there.
Yeah, she crawfish every
That's
day.
Tennessee.
And we're going to show you.
Wait till you go to Shelbyville. You'll see what I'm talking
We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, October 2nd is Sunset and Cigars. And then October 8th is Oscar Valladares with artist Cicerone. And they will be doing an event here. What time is that event? I want to say, let me look it up because I just had it up.
This kind of look like a doobie now. This is not a doobie. This is tobacco.
It does.
From 6 to 9 p.m.
Contact time.
So have a great afternoon. Smoke well, drink well, and always
Shoot, center mass.
aim center mass.